It's morning coffee. I got my cup. Let's put some coffee in it. Internet. Internet does not like me. These trying to reconnect moments, they burn my biscuits. Really, you know what really burns my biscuits? Is when my phone says trying to reconnect on a live stream. Let's go downstairs let's go into the wilderness of creativity, friends. Here, we'll close the door behind us and we'll head down the staircase into the prep room, the mortuary prep room. I like giving you guys a view. Today, we're going to pace off my functional workshop space. So you can see I hung a drape yesterday. I began to play around down here. I had a really nice day yesterday. I want you all to get a feel for my workshop space. So at the bottom of the stairs here, and the reason is because I want to help you build your workshops. I just got a message from John Ryan Zander. Do we get to see another awesome coffee with Lou this morning? I'm doing it right now. I'm glad I'm doing it. Yesterday was very late. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I do a few things before I do our morning coffees, and I'm seeing they come really around 10 or 11 in the morning. Some days, we'll see what the rhythms are, but I think on Mondays they might come a little later. But I want to help you build your workshops. Life Skateboards and I have teamed up in a powerful way, I think, to do that. But here we are in the first spot of my workshop. This is the bottom of the stairs here. And at the bottom of the stairs, we can either go straight into the workshop or we can go over here into the paint room. Now, let's talk about my paint room really quick. I call it the paint room or the art room. My paint room is the old... paint room is nice. It's not a huge room here, but it's pretty big. Let me pace it off for you. Let's pace off the paint room. I'm going to turn the camera around and give you an actual view. So, starting here at the back wall and going into the depth of it, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 18 or 20 feet over that way. And from this corner here, I'm actually going to take it from where the spray booth is. You can see that's a drape for my. So here's my sink, my spray sink for screen printing. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 17 feet that way. So it's less than 20 by 20. And then I've got this mess here. This is my trying to reconnect. Oh, did it work? Yeah, you're back. I see that you are all back, so I'm turning you back around. So I paced off my my art room. I'm focused on the laminate room, though, because laminate, man. I'm passionate about skateboard laminate, and you guys getting as many people as I can equipped to make skateboard laminate. I think it's the hardest part. What? We gotta go back upstairs or find out where I put it. Of course, my vape. Got my coffee, forgot my vape. Let's get in here. But anyway, art can take very little space or art can take a lot of space. It's kind of a, and so pacing off my art room at about 17 by 17 is what it was. And then pacing off my laminate room here, which is, here we are. This runs, I'm going to turn you guys around again. This runs, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, it's about 21 feet deep by, we'll call this, come on, reconnect, here we go. And this here is, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 15. So it's like, again, like 23 by 15, this room here. So it's not a small space, but a single press workshop or even a double press workshop can go into an even smaller space than mine. You can get a full-on workshop into, I think, a much smaller space. I've seen them in my mind and in real life. Tim Schaefer, beautiful, awesome, effective longboard workshop, putting out the greatest longboards possible. Totally subjective. Tim's work was absolutely outstanding. I say was because he shut down his business a little bit like I shut down my business. In the era where from which Tim and I come, a skateboard workshop didn't have what we needed to get the market we needed in order to keep making boards. Interesting. It's an interesting journey. And that's what I'm about now, is changing the market concept. Now back to what we're doing here. Yesterday, I didn't just clean up. You guys may have noticed when I first started broadcasting again, I was hanging things up, getting all the boards off the floor, getting them onto the ceilings. I really want to change out these boards here. These really should just go into storage. I am not as excited about my OEM order out era, 2008, that year into 2009. I was doing a fairly brisk business in order out boards. That is, I was buying boards from an OEM, and these are the graphics I ran. They were done by a local artist, and I was very pleased with that. I've got some things I can say about that era. Not everything reflects always well on everyone, and some of it around here. Well, we'll talk about that era another time, but what I'd really like is to have work from Life Skateboards, of course, and some of you guys up on the wall in here, so that your work is in here. I'd like to go all around the room with boards made by makers from the makers movement. But I'm going to have to figure that out later, because right now the rule is I have to do whatever I'm doing on no money. I am not upset about that, and I don't want a bunch of money. I got 10 gallons of glue right there. You can see my amazing glue mixing system. It's a drill with a batter on it. Yesterday I put these milk crates up here. They were kicking around, and I got the underneath here swept out nicely. I hung a trash bag right there. You just staple that bad boy, and I swept. I got more fans oriented more ways. I cleared out behind the two presses here. It had been a real mess back here for a long time. And the thing is, I had to make an interim trash pile storage place. You guys might know that I've been wrestling with some physical limitations. And so I had a back injury that was from a rib injury. And so scooping that up, I got to bring a shovel down from outside. I didn't want to break focus in the tasking to shovel this all out. So I'll shovel that all out when I feel frisky again, probably today. But good morning, Makers Movement, and I'm very gratified and stimulated this morning by the conversations we're having in the makers movement, it looks like we may be returning to the family values of abusing the norm that I grew up expecting from skateboarding as a kid. I thought skateboarding meant that we would question authority, and I liked that. I had a resentment for authority as a kid that on the one hand was extremely warranted. All authority should be rigorously questioned in the interest of our common value. It's just true. In fact, I think that there's going to be a developing argument that I am part of authority, as the makers movement is obviously going to continue and take off and become influential. That's unavoidable in the coming days, I think. Inevitable. The smell of inevitability. And I think that constant questioning is merited. Any authority that responds with unethical aversion to simple testing is illegitimate. As an emerging voice of skateboard making, for better or worse, I have to remain vulnerable to your questions. I mean, real probing questions like, and it's brutal because it will inevitably be revealed that I am, to one degree or another, to a certain capacity or another, kind of dumb. It's going to happen. That's just part and parcel with doing things like this. And being kind of dumb, though, in your eyes, is not that's not something I fear. Already in the makers movement, there's been shown to be a real limitation. I mean, seriously, there's such a limit to my understanding. We had a question on some mold things, and I went and answered the question the best I knew how to throw my hat in the ring on it. And by the middle of the conversation, it was shown pretty clearly that I had misunderstood what kind of presses we were even talking about. I love it. But questioning authority, I thought, turns out not so much. We have these authorities in skateboarding. And now that board making and board quality are, you used to have gimmicks that would pop up. Every few years, you'd get a new gimmick, maybe every 7 years. You had Bow Night. Everyone jokes about Bow Night. That was a great one. That was the first gimmick I remember outside of, you had aircraft aluminum skateboards. I had one for 2 years. I liked it. I'm a kook. You don't understand, or you do. I think you do understand that I'm a kook. Okay, I'm not a hardcore ripper or an important industry example of pushing the limit and building out the core, the core gravity of amazing skateboarding. I am a kook. One of the things that has happened in my local area, which you will hear about again and again, is the argument that since I'm not a real skateboarder and since I'm such a kook, no, the argument is that I am a kook trying to appear legitimate. I think we need to get past that. We probably won't. No, I am a kook saying that nobody's a kook. That legitimacy is not a question of how good you are on the scorecard of legitimate core skateboarding. That's not about that. It's about, honestly, the unseen competition that people are winning all the time is something about having fun. Something about enjoying yourself on your wheelie toy. And because it is such an internal thing, it can't be judged in a league. It can't be entered in an Olympic. but it remains the true core of what skateboarding is, and what makes skateboarding so awesome is that it's for you. Whatever, wherever, however you are in it, you belong. There are people who I consider to be very, very important to skateboarding who have gotten too sick, too injured, too old, too fat. They've raised children, done careers, things like this, and they're just not rippers and may never rip again. I know people who are diabetic. I know people who have suffered mental illness. I know people like this, and their enthusiasm for skateboarding is so strong. Their effect in the skateboarding community is usually relegated to the margins, out in the collector groups or out in some place, because they're kooks. They're kooks. Now, are there people who are kooks? No, I think there are rude people. I think there are inconsiderate people. I don't think there are so many that it's really a problem. Especially if I'm skateboarding somewhere, I can just throw a kicker ramp against a wall somewhere else and have a great session. I can find a curb somewhere else and have a great session. But I haven't been driven out of a park by a Karen or anything like that, like, ever. And when there are scooter kids at the park, now I know this is a touchy subject, I just rap with them and tell them where it's at and tell them don't get killed by me, because if I hit you, your little body will be cleft from your spirit. And I don't know, man. But talking about the skateboarding industry and really doing the compare and contrast, that's what's going on in the skateboarding community. Oh, I've got Darren Tyler on here. He says, that's me for sure. The plan is to lose 30 pounds and rip again. A bit delusional, but I'll hold to that story. Well, listen, friends, I've done it. I've lost 30 pounds, ripped around, and I don't know how much heavier I am today. I'm not a big fat guy, but I don't feel strong. I've got injuries that now at 47 are coming to plague me. My front ankle, I tore out everything at 15 years old. It's why I had to kind of say no to flip tricks, because the ankle doesn't always stay in the socket. My back foot, my right foot, I've got a bad Achilles tendon, and that's a horror show. You don't want that thing to pop. That's a mind that messes with my mind right there. The knees are okay. Got patellar tendonitis in both knees with the giant lump of the old, like an Osgood Slatter looking thing on each knee. I dislocated a hip. I'll tell this story again and again because I mean it for your encouragement. And I will still, as long as I can handle the rigors of it, jump on that motorcycle and ride out to Texas and skate ditches. As long as I can get some sleep somewhere, I'll ride the ditches, and I don't care if I'm just frontside carving on the ditches. Whereas if I hadn't ridden out, I could probably ollie and do other cool stuff. And whatever, dude, whatever. Just let's ride. I like skate parks because I get to use transition all over the place, and I don't want to use all my time with the makers movement to talk all this philosophy. I want to talk shop. Probably not so much today as I will later, but when it comes to a workshop, my workshop could be condensed into nothing but one 8 or 10 foot table, a press or two. I think we'll focus in on the presses right now. If you take a look at my presses, I've got 2 presses, and they're snugged up against each other. And then if you come around the back, let's turn on a light, put our coffee down here. Let me fix my tripod real quick. I'm going to turn on a light here. And with this nice lighting, let's take a look at something I did. Now, I could tap con the feet of these presses to the ground, and I've done that before, and it works great. But instead this time, I took a hose clamp and I just fastened them, because the twisting, when you're tightening the press, only goes one direction. You only need 1 or 2 tap cons, because they always want to move the same way when you're cranking on them. And that's if you're using the kind of jacks I'm using. But if you're using hydraulic jacks, you don't have to tap anything down because you're just cranking this way. There's no twist on your presses. I've got these two presses sitting without any space between them because I walk around and tighten from both sides. And that doesn't take a lot of space. Well, how much space does it take? Let's do a footprint on that. My feet are about a foot long. 1, 2.5. Takes 5 feet. That's 5 feet by 1, 2, 3. It's like 5 feet wide by 6 feet long. And you've got a good gig going there with 2 presses, 5 by 6. You also need a walkway around the outside of 3 feet. Okay, so you got a 3-foot walkway around the outside. That takes 5 by 6 into 8 by 12. 8 by 12 for your presses, and less if you just do 1 press, which is plenty for you and your local area. Again, we're talking about raising the profile of craft-made skateboards so that people can go directly to a website and get your work after you finish it, and they can go directly to a website and get it with yakety yackers like me yakking about it. That's where it's going. And I love you, buddy. You're good. You're going to be able to do it. You can do it. And, then I use a bandsaw. It's the high-class, old-school cutout. Lots and lots of good friends are using a, what you call it? Saw? Sam, what's that called? Sam Cook is on here. You know the one. I've got a bit for it right here. Lots of folks are using that. I do know the name of it, but this is my brain. Lots of folks are using that. It's fine. It's great. Seriously. I mean, it's hard on your carpal tunnels. Jigsaw. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you. So folks use jigsaws. That's good. It's just like, if you're making 20 boards a month, you don't have to spend $300 on a bandsaw. You don't. We're not doing moon landings here, man. You can use a jigsaw. 20 boards a month. You're not going to get carpal tunnel and die a lonely death all alone. You can use a jigsaw. And dude, honestly, to be quite frank, listen, everybody needs if you're apprehensive about making skateboards, I get it. But if you build 1 press in a small area, we measured out the shop today. It's roughly it's like 23 feet. It's like 24 feet by 17 feet in here. And it's massive. I mean, it is massive. I am a rich man. I am rich in blessings and resources here. I just fell into it. I did not know when I bought an old funeral home with help from family, I love the Lou is a very rich person rumor. Let's keep that one flying. There's a rumor locally that I embezzled $50,000 from a local skateboard company, and that's how I started my operation. Keep them coming, buddies. The vape break. But we've got a lot to discuss, Makers of Movement. We have a lot of things to discuss, and I'll probably do another video or 2 today on my YouTube and on my Facebook main to rap about things. As you can tell this morning, I'm a little disorganized mentally, but my intention this morning was to measure out the shop and show you what dimensions I'm working within, and talk to you about what does your basic shop look like. I wanted to say space for presses and walk around, a cutting tool of one sort or another, sanding tools of some sort. I am only using one of my drum sanders here. The green one is not in use. It's just in storage. I'm using this one, and I use this one. And I stopped using a belt sander, even though a belt sander gets really good results, because a wide disc sander was it took up less space, and I was able to get really nice, long, smooth rails with it after doing this for like 10 years. So I just got rid of I moved my belt sander, disc sander into my workshop for motorcycle stuff, so I can finish when I'm fabricating something. I can do a little bit of sanding with them on there. And of course, it's a wood setup, so it doesn't have the speeds and torque that I need for doing stuff out there. So I'll burn that tool out. I also moved my old drill press out there, and whatever, man. I'm working mild steel and rebar out there, and I'm probably gonna have videos out there this summer doing repairs and builds and stuff. But I enjoyed being with you this morning. I think the only other tool that we want to talk about is over here. To say I fabricated is an overstatement. My drill press with its toothache bonnet, okay, I put an L on there it's pretty horrible. This weld here, that's me. I stuck this to that so I could fit wider boards underneath here, because the post on this wouldn't allow me to do boards over about 9.5 inches, and I'm doing boards at I guess in the shop here I've made boards about 10.5 inches wide. That used to, like a year ago, that was as wide as they got. My board now, I can't remember how wide my board is now. Let's see. I think it's 10.75. That's what I had to do in order to get my drill press. Now, if I'd bought a mill, one of those big old mills, that's got plenty of what I call plunge depth on it. But, so here we are. This was today. This was coffee. It was definitely mentally scattered. I don't apologize with great remorse, though, because this is what you get. If you have any questions, feel free to message me your questions and observations. Had a dynamite conversation last night with someone who had observations and questions. And please, just Facebook message me some questions and observations. Tell me what a kook I am. Tell me I'm only in it for the money. I feel so defensive today. I'm offended by that. I am. That's offensive to me. And it's going to increase. So I reckon my skin will thicken as we go forward. But if it does thicken, it will be in between me having a chuckle about those weird things people say. But I care about you today. I don't know where you're at, what's going on. I know a lot of people are struggling in their homes and in their environments with the restrictions of, there we go. Sam Cooke responds, okay, money bags. People are struggling in their lives right now. COVID restrictions have changed the game. I know I haven't seen my parents in going on a year and a half or a year and 3 months. And they haven't seen anyone. They just zip out to the grocery store at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I imagine some people are experiencing that. If you've been sick, God bless you. If you've lost somebody to COVID-19, God bless you, or any of the other factors, or if you've even lost anyone at all, tough year. And I would say take care of yourself, but we're not very good at that. I've turned my hope and my sights on the God that's described in the scriptures, and of the Christians. I'm a Christian. I've put my hope in that God, and I, of course, highly recommend faith in Jesus as a response to the troubles and trials of life. You will find that to be a constant with me. I've got love for every one of you, no matter where you're coming from. And I hope that we get to see each other again soon. I hope that if you're in the Cincinnati area, I can have you visit. No problem what your COVID restrictions are. You can visit me. We can work it out. I have the ventilation that it takes for a distance visit. Set it up with me. Don't drop in on me, because I got Claymore mines rigged up around here. I need to disarm the Claymores. Face toward enemy. Well, this has been good. Good morning, my friends. I enjoyed it. I'll have it up on the YouTube in a minute. Remember to like and subscribe. I've got 125 followers, so we're taking over. The thing is really blowing up. What will be hilarious is if someday I've got a whole lot of followers and have a big old YouTube channel, and we'll be able to look back to when Lou was bragging on 125 followers. That's fun. But I don't measure my life by such things. I feel like what I'm doing right now is as impactful and as important as it needs to be, because I think the right people are watching this right now. I think it's all set up and that we're doing the work. I'm passionate, willing to suffer for you to install your workshops and get working on making great skateboards. You can do it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot less work if you've got some friends, and we're your friends here at the Makers Movement. And at Life Skateboards. Life Skateboards is not just about making skateboards. We're about making workshops, and we care about you. So hang tough, hang tight, help is on the way. And thanks for spending time here in the workshop with me this morning. Thanks, friends. Peace be with your spirits.